Did we end the song? I think we ended the song. What's up, everybody? What are you doing? Are you busy? Are you busy right now? What's going on? What are you doing? What are you doing? Hello? Hello? It's Friday. What are y'all up to? Good to be back in the land of the living. How you doing, everybody? You guys can hear probably with your ear balls. You guys are listening with your ear balls and you're hearing sounds with your ears. I've survived the illness from Olivia. I'm not dead, although I did have a day of feeling like I was going to die. Yeah. But right now, I have I feel like I have allergies sort of situation. So, yeah, I don't know. Wednesday was the day I felt like I was going to die, and I worked all day. So, luckily I worked by myself, so I wasn't giving my germs to nobody. But, yeah, it really didn't help, feeling terrible out there because this was like the first week of inclement weather. It was probably like 38, 39 degrees when I left in the morning and warmed up to a balmy like maybe 50, and it was pouring down rain, wacky intervals. Like there was points of time where the sun was shining and reflecting off everything that was wet, and then it would like pour down rain, and then the sun would come out, and then it would get windy for a little bit, and then it would pour down rain again. I don't know. It was very weird. But needless to say, the work got done. And yesterday I didn't do a whole lot of anything. Actually, even though I was like chilling half the day yesterday, I think I still got a bunch of stuff done. Like I replaced one of the gutters on a building. I did the chicken coop. I did a bunch of work on the chickens yesterday. I also did some other, I don't know. I just did a bunch of stuff, even though I felt like it was a down day of being down and doing not a whole lot of anything. But, I don't feel bad. I just feel like I have allergies today, and I did like a nasal rinse or something, whatever that thing is where you like squirt the salt water up your nose, and it's fine. But my voice sounds totally weird. I have this like thing going on. We do have a contextual question here from Ariel asking, Joel, are you going to do a Peru video of your own, or was that footage exclusively for aquarium co-op use? Okay. I know there's a lot of people kind of confused about like why I went to Peru, what was going on. Obviously, right out the gate, it's a big opportunity to go to Peru, right? You're like, hey, you want to go to Peru? Like, I guess so. Let's do it. Let's go there. Let's catch some fish. Let's hang out with the boys. Let's do all that stuff. That's a great opportunity. So, first and foremost, there's that. I did not plan on going. It was long been in the works that I believe Zenzo was going to go. And sort of last minute, we found out that he couldn't go. And so it was like, oh, hey, we need our guy. Who's our guy? Who could do this with 12 days notice? I either had 12. I think I had 12 days notice. I don't remember exactly what it was, but I remember it was like, that's less than 2 weeks from now. Oh my God, can I even pull this off? So it was like, all right, let me see if I can do this. Let me see if this is something I can even pull off, right? And so we ended up going, but the main reason that I went was to go film a bunch of stuff. So, like Randy and Dean and Corey had already been there before. They all kind of had their plan on what they wanted to do. Jamie, I already said I did the neti pot. I already did that already. The nasal thing. I just called it a nasal thing instead of using the brand name. But anyhow, those guys had already been there. They'd already kind of planned on what they were going to do. They all, it's like those guys wanted to go swimming. My vaccinations were so shortly applied that so the two doctors I was working with and the nurse and somebody in between a nurse and a doctor, I don't know what their qualifications specifically are, but it was 4 people I was dealing with from my healthcare provider to get all the vaccinations I needed, all of the medications that I needed, and all of that stuff. And one of their things that they were highly, highly, highly recommending was like, look, try not to go swimming. If you do, try not to go dunk your head underwater. And it was like, okay, so I'll try to shoot as much as I can of everything coming in to the shore, right? I'll do my best to do that. I don't know how to do the nets. I don't know if anybody needed help on the net. I don't know what the hell. So I was just kind of like, all right, I'm going to go. We're going to see what happens. I'm going to film a bunch of stuff. Now, me having gone was sponsored by Aquarium Co-op. So my initial interpretation was I'm going to film all this stuff. I'm going to give a copy of all of the footage that I filmed to Aquarium Co-op, and they're going to use whatever footage they want to make Aquarium Co-op videos, right? One of the big reasons for that, Corey's channel is over 20 times the size of my channel. I don't even know how we do the math there. He's over 700,000 subscribers. It's going to get way more exposure over there. So first and foremost, me as somebody who likes to make content that people get to see, I'm going to try to put the content in front of more eyes. You know what I'm saying? So like, let's say I make a project and I have an opportunity to put it up somewhere that that say like 200,000 people are going to see it, right? I would put it there before putting it here. Just because of the fact of like, I would like more people to see the thing and get like more feedback, or if I feel like it's something of like real value, I'd want more people to be exposed to it, right? So that's just the way I feel about it. Now, once they're done with their Peru videos, which are, I believe, coming out every 2 weeks or maybe 3 weeks or something like that. I don't know exactly what the release schedule is. Once that's all done, I'm gonna finish edit the footage that I have, and then release some Peru videos from my perspective, from my specific perspective, right? Now, the weird thing with that is that like, 2 or 3 or maybe 4,000 people or something are gonna see it on my channel, and it's like, cool. That's great. You guys are going to get to check that out. But you guys could also check out the Aquarium Co-op videos, right? You guys aren't limited to seeing any of that stuff, right? So that's the reality, is that like, I was sponsored by the co-op to come and help film and just help out on the trip and have a good time and all that stuff. So that's why I went. It was a good time. It was all of those things. It was a good learning experience. I might go back at some point. I don't know. I'm 100% undecided at this point, so nobody knows. You guys know that Fridays we normally have a co-host here, Alyssa. She's not here just because of the fact that I was like, I think it was like Wednesday or something. I was like, dude, I got the sickness from Olivia. Don't come this week because now I've got it. The last week it was Olivia that was sick, and I couldn't even do a show because I was taking care of Olivia. So regardless of that, plus I didn't want anybody to catch the cold. This week it's because I caught it, and I think us being in a room talking to each other for 2 hours probably means that she might catch whatever cold I have. We got tested for COVID. It's not that, so it's all good, but I still don't want anybody to catch sickness. There's no reason to spread it to anybody. Yeah, but Alyssa asked 3 separate questions. First question, do the kids still use Zerg as a verb? As far as I know, only StarCraft nerds ever used Zerg as a word in their vocabulary at all. So I believe if StarCraft nerds are still around, then I guess. But I never was a StarCraft nerd. I just know that was associated with StarCraft nerddom. What is a pineapple bristlenose? I have no clue. Honestly, I don't know what a pineapple bristlenose is. I've never really seen evidence of what that is, or even really. I try to stay away from the street names as much as possible, but I'm also terrible with the Latin stuff also, so who knows. But I don't know what. I haven't seen those for sale, or like how to identify them or anything, but I don't know. Third question is, what does one do with a black walnut tree? Well, in western Washington, a black walnut tree, trim it down, keep it nice. As Matt said, the squirrels eat the black walnuts, which is generally what you're really going to get out of them. I don't know very many people that actually like dry out and roast the walnuts or any of that kind of stuff. It seems like a big chaotic thing, but I would definitely consider in the fall time. There's a lot of cleanup from a black walnut tree because all those come down and you got to mess with stuff all over the place. You got a mess of stuff all over the ground, and the mess is bad. Yeah. Sounds nicer than 95-degree humid weather here in L.A. I would never live in L.A. The weather there is disgusting, and traffic, and it's overpopulated, and it's too expensive. There's a lot about L.A. that I don't like. So I would never move there. I've visited a million times. Because there's like 40 million people or something that live around there, and there's always something going on. So I would probably visit LA again, but yeah, you couldn't. I don't think that you could pay me enough money to live down there, unless maybe I got hired by like John Favreau or something to like make Mandalorian episodes or something. I don't know what kind of money that would look like, but it would have to be a lot. Trim it down, okay, because it's growing like crazy. Yeah, trim that thing down. Any kind of like fruit-bearing trees like that, you're gonna want to trim them down. It's always the best idea. And when I say fruit-bearing, like nuts, anything like that, yes, anything that bears food basically would be the easy way to go. Like, oh, okay, got to trim it down. Aquatics, the one here kills within 2 weeks or so. What? I don't know what that means. What's up, y'all? We talking about brain-eating amoeba? That's my thought when I see a neti pot. No, we're not talking about brain-eating amoeba. No, I don't. No. Nope. Matt Romero says doing it for the exposure. No. I'm definitely not doing stuff for the exposure, but I feel like if I make something and I'm really proud of it, like I'd like it to get in front of more people, which actually there's a parallel there. Where is it? Art subjects, this right here. I gotta copy the link, and it's a hot link. Okay, so you guys know I've got these mandalas hanging up behind me. So like this artist has a showing right now. I believe that's a link to the showing. I think that's right. Yeah, I think that's the right link to the showing. If you guys want to check that out, that's the artist who made those, which is a good example of like, if I make like a video or something and I could get it in front of like a lot more people, I would opt for that. It's the same thing as like making a painting. Why you would have it in a showing? It's so that people could check it out, and potentially more people could check it out than how much foot traffic I have in the basement of my house, right? Big D Smoke says that sounds exactly like Seattle minus the good weather. I mean, Seattle's expensive. It's not very populated, though. But Seattle's expensive mainly because there's no land. You know, everything is trapped on an isthmus, I believe. Isn't an isthmus when you have isthmus, right? is when you have a body of land, a narrow strip of land with sea on either side. Well, I guess it's sea and lake, you know. So one side is the sea and one side is a giant lake. But yeah, Seattle is an isthmus, and that's one of the big reasons it's so expensive, is that there's just a limited amount of land where things could be built. So the basic city center that would normally like encapsulate a big area is stuck on a strip of land and then shoots out from either end. And you know, that's why it's so expensive. It's desirable to live there. And yeah, I know that Big D is going to move to Panama. I would encourage him to go visit Panama for a long period of time before just strictly moving there. But, you know, to each his own. I think it should be cool. Swim in some mystery water followed by a year of degenerative disease, then death. Well, I'd hope not. Yeah, I mean, I don't think I caught anything while I was in Panama or in Peru other than the sickness I caught when I was there. And then I got sick because this little person right here in the corner got sick. And, long story short, she was coughing directly in my face, you know, like right in my eyes. You know what I mean? So what are you going to do? What are you going to do about that? There's not much you're going to do about that. Your kid gets sick. You got to take care of your kid, and then they cough right in your face. And you're most likely going to catch that. Ariel says, Joel or anyone in the chat have tips on breeding pseudomogil rainbows. I'm getting eggs, but fry are dying after a couple of days. I don't really have any advice on that limited information. I don't have anything to advise at that point from that amount of info during a live stream. So, sorry. Well, Wesley brings up a good point. Mome for microorganisms. Yeah, you're going to need a lot of microorganisms, that's for sure. Alyssa is doing dishes and laundry. Okay. Adam was wondering, how are the eyes? My eyes are doing good. I got them checked up again. Everything seems to be going fine. I can see pretty good. But as they say, they've got to settle in. You know, everything's got to settle in, and then it'll get better. So it's fine. But I can see pretty good. Can definitely read signs far away and see pretty clear. I do have to do the eye drops pretty often. Today, this eye is feeling like there's a hair in it. I don't know why. But I checked it, and there is not an eyelash in that eye. So it just feels funny today. I keep putting drops in it, but it's probably because my nose is like stuffy. But that's basically like my weird voice and a stuffy nose. That's basically what I have left of the sickness. But just it's more pronounced because you guys are listening to me talk, and my voice sounds all weird. You know. Joel got the daycare disease. That's right. Yeah, I got the straight up daycare disease. But yeah, on Monday I went and got my eyes checked up at the... I'm just going to say eye doctor because I'm not sure what that guy's qualifications are, but he's the like satellite office doctor guy, but he might just be an ophthalmologist. Who knows? But, you know, went under the microscope, got the lights shined in there. Got checked out, and he said everything's healing fine, and there's a little bit of, I guess, in the tears that are from the eye surgery, like, it's basically like a little bit of oil that is behind that, which slowly clears up. Yeah. Yeah. And, just over time, it like slowly clears up, and your body like absorbs the oil that's back there. I do have the phone lines open today on the Discord in case anybody wants to call in and chat. Who knows? Did everybody hit the like button? Did everybody become a patron? Did everybody join up and become a member? Did everybody super chat $1 billion? No. Well, okay. Then we'll just keep up with the regular nonsense that goes on around here. Because I think if somebody super chats $1 billion, then I basically got to do probably whatever they want me to do. I think, the reality is, like, if somebody gives you $1 billion, you're probably just going to do whatever they say. I think that's a lot. That's a lot of money. But then again, I guess if you take the ownership of the $1 billion, Addictive Tendencies is trying to call me. You got to go into the chat. That is the chat room on Discord. So scroll down to the voice channels, and then just join the voice channel. There we go. All right. I hung up on you. I'm not going to call you back because you got to join the voice channel. But you're going to hear me because you're on delay, so you'll hear it in a minute. One of the glorious things that have come out recently, one of the great pieces of media that has come out is called Squid Game. Dude, check that out on Netflix. I'm not a huge gory. I don't like a lot of gore, and there's a lot of gore in this show. But it is sort of justified for the narrative of the actual story itself. Mostly. I would say like 80%, 85% of it is sort of justified for the story. But the story is quite good. It was really entertaining. It definitely is not for kids. The cinematography was a little bit... the cinematography was like exciting at some points, not mind-bending. Not mind-bending as far as the cinematography goes, but solid. Definitely solid. Set design was really good. I definitely enjoyed the story. The story was really well done. I think they did a good job with it. Hey, what's going on?
Hey, you talking to me?
Yeah, what's happening?
Hey, what's going on? Hey, yo, is this Joe?
Yeah, you're live.
Hey, what's
on the
going on,
internet.
Man? Yeah, what's going on? We're live? Are we live? We're doing it live?
Yeah, you're live. You're live on the internet.
Oh my goodness. I just literally I just gave you $1 billion on your channel. You didn't catch that?
1 billion. I didn't see it. I didn't see
Yeah,
it
it was
come
like
up.
1 billion. It was like 1 billion British pounds, which is like way more than American dollars.
That's even more.
Yeah.
That's definitely. See, that the thing was, I was like, wait a minute. If somebody gives you $1 billion, you pretty much got to do whatever they tell you to do. But
I mean,
there's a caveat there.
That's kind of the rule, yeah.
Well, there's a caveat there that, like, if you have $1 billion, that's FU money, right?
I think so. I think that qualifies sort of as FU money, yeah.
As soon as you take the ownership of it, then it's like, oh, no, now I don't have to do what you say because I have $1 billion now.
Oh, man. Is this when people usually, like, turn into assholes?
That's a real catch-22.
When they have fuck you money? Is that what happens usually?
That's how that goes.
I don't like that. I don't like that one bit.
Well, I don't like that one bit. I actually
bit.
was talking about this a while ago, is that I think most people don't necessarily have a firm grasp in their mind of what $1 billion is, or a billion period. Because we hear the number all the time, right?
Yeah.
Where it's like, well, the federal government's going to try to implement a blah, 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 and it's going to be $80 billion over 3 years, and da-da-da-da. And, like, we hear it all the time, right? But, like, the difference between $1 million and $1 billion is just a catastrophic. It's like if you had 1 million seconds, it's like 11 days, I think, right? If you have 1 billion seconds, it's 33 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's like just how wildly different those numbers
like
are.
How astronomical the difference is. Like, you don't really you can't even fathom how much a billion is.
Yeah, not really.
It's like 100 million is like, what is that to most people? And then you're talking about a billion?
Yeah.
What are you talking about?
Well, you're talking about like the average person, I think, in the United States. So like an average income person, I think you accumulate like $1.6 million in your lifetime. Something like
think I
that.
heard that
Or
as
like
well, though.
1.8 million or something like that. That
Yeah.
average. So, it's basically like if you take if you take like 38,000 and multiply it times 40 or 45 or whatever, you basically get that number, right? Where you're like, "Oh, but your lifetime worth of work is like this slim fraction of a number that is being owned by individuals." You're just like, huh?
Huh?
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
very it's very much one of those things where you're like, because people go like, "Oh, what are you, like a socialist or something?" I'm like, "No, I'm not a socialist. I'm
Yeah.
I want things to be democratic to like the umpteenth power. You know what I mean? It's like
Yeah. How about I'm just in favor of things making sense? How about that?
right. It's just like being able to regulate to the point where it's like we don't have the oil barons that we did of the past, right? It's like we don't need the Carnegies again. We don't need the Rockefellers again. It collapsed the whole system before. Remember? like when this happened.
You member.
when
You member.
Yeah, remember?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
Member. Yeah, no, I wholeheartedly agree with exactly everything you're saying, 100%. And that's another reason why I'm in favor of just, laws. I think we should like break up things like Facebook, Instagram. Like I think those things should be broken up.
Well,
There's
yeah.
too much power that these big corporations have.
Well,
And
yeah,
I'm
it's
not
very-
like on some conspiracy theorist type shit, but it's just like
No.
these companies have too much power. It's too much. It's too much
Well,
power.
right.
And
I mean,
it's not serving anybody but themselves. So,
And here's
yeah.
the thing: is like I was listening to one of the addresses that Elizabeth Warren gave to the Senate, and whether you agree with Elizabeth Warren or not, it doesn't matter on this point. Is that she was explaining, WhatsApp versus Facebook, right? And she's like breaking it down for all these like octogenarians, which by the way means people that are over 80 years old in the Senate who are like wielding outrageous amounts of power, and then they're like, "Well, I don't know, these kids and their Facebooks," and you're like,
Yeah.
how is this guy in charge of so much power? Like, just retire.
Yeah.
Man.
How is this
Like,
guy? How is
I'm
this
not
guy
saying
in so
that
much
they're bad
control of my
people.
life when he's like over 90?
Right.
Like, what is going on here?
Yeah, it's like I'm not saying he's a bad person or anything like that, but just retire. Like you don't know what's going on. Like, and so she was explaining that like WhatsApp came out, it had a lot more privacy than the other.
Was this
the
was she speaking on like antitrust laws? Because this is what I'm kind of getting at. This is the antitrust laws.
Yes,
Yeah.
but she was like basically trying to explain to the old timers what happened, right? And in an address that everybody could watch, right? Because then you could send this address out because it was addressed to the Senate, so it's public. It's totally public, and you could pass it on to the people so that the old people that are confused could watch it also, right? But she was like, WhatsApp came out, and it's a social media site that people can have conversations back and forth, and blah blah blah, and it's much more private, blah blah blah, and
I'm sure she had to make her point before 4 p.m. dinner time.
oh yeah, probably because you're gonna have some hard boiled eggs and stuff, right? For dinner. And so she was explaining that like that competition was good for business. It's good for the market. It's good for everybody, right? We're gonna innovate. We're gonna create new technology. We're gonna create new jobs and this and that. And Facebook had like two options. One is get better and provide more privacy and provide new tools for people to maintain privacy, right? Or they could just take their astronomical amounts of wealth and just buy the competition, which they did. They ended up buying WhatsApp and just being like, oh, now we don't have to do anything to Facebook. We'll just continue to like ruin people's privacy and stuff. And you're like,
It's cool, man. It's cool, Joel.
yeah.
Capitalism is working, bro. It's fucking working.
Well, I mean, the thing is that like this stuff needs to be regulated, and
I agree.
that's the point. It's not like, hey, capitalism needs to go away. It's that we need strong regulation in order for people to not take advantage. Which is,
I mean, 100%. I'm there. I'm right there with you. Exactly. Yes.
So
how about some social democracy in this piece, huh?
Well, yeah. I mean,
Can we get a little bit of that?
That's my whole jam, dude.
Yeah. I know.
And but you know, like this week was a glaring example where Facebook just broke, and they were like, "Well, I don't know," you know, and it's like, well, why did it break right when there was a whistleblower coming out about what your company's been up to? You know,
I'm sorry to interrupt you, but I'm like actually not in the know of what you're talking about. Like I haven't been online for a week. Yeah, no, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So there was a whistleblower that came out on Sunday. I believe it was on Sunday, and then that came out about Facebook. Somebody who was higher up in Facebook and came out as a whistleblower against it. And then,
about
of
what?
course, about what Facebook's how Facebook is engaging with the population, right? Like how they're able to spread misinformation, intentionally use algorithms to push things that are creating conflict between people, right? And that's what they're promoting, you know, and that's what they're actively doing. And this is somebody from the inside that came out about that. And it, strangely enough, was all happening on the same day that Facebook, WhatsApp, and Instagram all went down for a record 6 hours, which is the only time that's ever happened since 2012. So, you know, it's very interesting timing. You know,
when did that happen? When did they all go down? I kind of myopically kind of heard about that.
I think it
when
was
did they all go down?
I think it was Monday. So Facebook went down.
Wow. Wow. Okay. So you're saying they basically all went down at the same time?
Yeah. Why Facebook and Instagram went down for hours on Monday? Yeah. So it was Monday, and they were saying that like, oh, our servers, we're just trying to like do a thing, and then you know, like we're just trying to do a thing, and then it broke, and then it's just broken, and so. You know, like we need guys to go out and like restart the router. You guys know what routers are, right? Like we got to go turn it on and turn it off just like yours. And you're like, how in the get out of here, dude? That's not, you know. But what was the
interesting? I didn't know that. That's interesting.
Whistleblower.
Huh.
So when was
I've been offline for like a week and a half because I've been kind of sick, and I haven't been around. So
so the Facebook whistleblower testified on Capitol Hill, and let me see what the date was.
Is this guy gonna get arrested or what? Oh my goodness! You know what happens to the whistleblowers?
Well, I don't know. I don't have any. I don't have anything to say about that other than that sometimes they have a tendency to like disappear. You know.
Joel, your channel's not that big. We can still talk about these matters, okay?
Well, hey man, I still got a terms of service this thing, you know.
Okay.
But no, I don't know about any of that stuff other than just like this real superficial you know, like why is that guy dead? That's weird, you know, like
dude,
realistically.
I mean, has there ever been an answer for Jeffrey Epstein? How did he get suicided, dude? Are you kidding me?
Well, as far as
I don't want to talk about it anymore.
He killed himself. Well, the thing with that is that people are like, "There's no way that he killed himself," and it's like, but his psychiatrist, the people that were like checking in on him were like, "This dude
on suicide watch?
He had suicidation for like 6 months." So it was like,
for real?
Yeah. So it's like he already had tried a couple other times. And that was the thing. That's why people were pointing at that it was so suspicious that he had tried a couple of times and he was supposed to be on watch, right? So they were like, well, how did this possibly happen? And it's like the people working at the prison make like $10 an hour and don't care. So they fell asleep, or whatever. But the reality is like, you have some of the like least caring employees ever, watching a guy who supposedly was going to testify about a bunch of stuff, you know, and it's like, well, he kind of knew he was going to go to prison forever. And people have a tendency to off themselves when that happens, you know. It is the cowardly way out, but it does happen, you know. I mean, my cousin worked in a prison for quite a while, and like one of the stories he was telling me is that there was a guy that they had there that he would have been done with his prison sentence if not for the crimes that he had committed while in prison, right? And this guy's whole motivation for being like crazy and violent and stuff is that he believed that magnets were trying to get him. And you just never really know when somebody's that far off the deep end, like what they could get up to. So, do I put the Jeffels in that same category? I don't know. Big D Smoke says, I don't know what the hell happened, but he's not the only guy to have committed suicide while on suicide watch. Yeah, and that's the problem. You're in prison it's just not even a good time. It was DNS issue, but since they put it like legit makes sense as to why it failed. It was a terrible design. I have the IT nitty gritty on that. It was just coincidence, bad timing, but man, the IT infrastructure screwed up. Yeah, I mean it's just really suspicious timing though. You know, like it's like very weird. That if it does happen to be a coincidence, that's like such weird timing. When there's a big whistleblower coming out about your specific gigantic monopoly. I just ordered the shrimp and black leggings for Jody. Hope that's better than a super chat. Hey man, anybody ordering leggings is always good times. So, yeah. Let's see here. Oh, we do have two super chats. One from Rumbust with the Swedish kroner, 2705, which is how many days I've been sobered. 2,705 days. Thank you very much, Rumbust. It says not quite a billion. That's true, but it is a drop in the bucket towards our billion dream, right? Joel G has super chatted 2 New Zealander dollars with the air quotes, $1 billion. Addictive Tennessees has dropped out. We don't know what's going on. He's being silent now. We lost our caller. Oh, he's back. Okay, he's returned. What happened over there? Oh my God, he must have gotten so freaked out he just stopped talking.
I'm still here.
What was there was some fish thing I was going to talk about today, but I don't even remember what it was now. But have you seen the Squid Game? Did you see that? Hey, man, where'd you go?
Are you talking to me right now?
Yeah.
What's up? I'm still here. What's going on?
Yeah, I was saying, Did you see Squid Game?
Yeah. So actually, you know what? I actually heard about, like, somebody was telling me about, like, what's going on with the Squid Game. Earlier this week, I try to put somebody on it, but evidently you need to, like, invest some time into it, you know? You need to, like, it's like a reality TV show, right?
No, it's only like 8 episodes. It's fiction. It's pure fiction.
Oh, I don't know. For some reason, like, as soon as I started watching it, it seemed like it was a reality TV show that I needed to just invest time in. And I was just like, I don't know if I got this time. I don't know.
It's 8 episodes. Well, maybe it might be 9 episodes, but no. Have you seen it yet? It's a fictional story. Right, so you watched the first episode, right? So let's just talk about the first episode a little bit, because that's not spoiling it for anybody, because all this kind of stuff gets exposed right at the beginning. So all of the main characters at the beginning, you find out that they're broke, and they, like, owe people money, right? And he encounters somebody who offers an opportunity for them to make an extraordinary amount of money by entering what is, they just refer to it as this game, right?
Yeah.
And I can't remember if the first episode they get shipped off.
It sounds very Japanese. Okay, I just want to say that.
What's that? Oh, it's Korean.
I just want to say. I mean, it sounds very Japanese. Yeah.
Oh, it's Korean. It's Korean. But like, anyhow.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Did you see the first episode? I don't know if anybody gets eliminated in the first episode or whatever, but I think
I literally saw like, yeah, no. You got to tell me. You got to tell me. Like, break it down.
Okay, so in the previews, I think it mentions that like all of the contestants are up for dying. Like the very first game that gets played is red light, green light, and
like literally get killed.
It's red light, green light, and these people don't even know that life is on the line. They explain that you will be eliminated, and they do red light, green light, and if you move, you just get gunned down by this automated system that notices you moving. It's intense. It's very gruesome. It's very wild, but like it goes to this whole like
South Korea sounds crazy.
Oh, they're just as crazy as us, man. They're just as crazy as Americans.
Yeah.
But like it's really good. It was really well done. The costume design was I thought the costume design was pretty impressive. Realistically, on sort of, you could tell it wasn't like it wasn't like a Marvel Studios budget, right? You know what I'm saying? It was like, oh, this is organized and professional, but they don't have endless amounts of money. So I think like the costume design was pretty good on the basis of that. The characters, like the character actors that they got, are fantastic. The storyline is great. The actors are great. The cinematography, set design is really interesting. The costumes were pretty well done for what seems to be the budget. But I'm going to tell you, like, season 2 is going to be buck wild because this is like the most popular show in the world right now. So there's no way in hell they aren't making season 2. And season 2 is going to be like out of this world, I'm guessing, because they're probably going to get all of South Korea's budget to make season 2. You know what I mean? like you got something that's this popular. Like only one of the characters, from what I could tell, only one of the characters speaks English in real life. Because they were on Jimmy Fallon, like they were interviewed on Jimmy Fallon, and everybody spoke Korean except for one of the characters was like, "Oh, that's fairly broken English," but like, it's
still
more to the point.
K-pop
It's
level.
Like these are the top level Korean actors and stuff, but they're like, I don't even really, I don't even do English. I don't even do that. So I think realistically, it'll be like all of the budget possible will be thrown right at that, with all of South Korea backing it up. You know what I mean? Like, this is a world. You know, I think it's number 1 in like 90 countries right now or something like that.
You know what? Yeah. That's why I want a VPN. So that I can watch all these number 1 hits in like all of the countries except for America. Well, sometimes like there's so many great things to watch.
It's just on Netflix. You could just watch it. But like seriously, if you go on, and this is one of the reasons why I like Netflix and what they're doing. So like, if you go on to Netflix, you can check like the international area out. There's like Lupin. There's like finally? Lupin is really good. That's like a French show of this, like, he's like this thief guy. But they have like a lot of international programming now coming to the US Netflix, which is really good because, so like Squid Game, they did the whole voiceover for it. So you can literally just watch it dubbed. And they did a really good job. They did a really good job of it. So it's like, it's fairly easy to watch. I mean, I can watch stuff with subtitles, but it's I don't know. It's kind of a bummer, really.
Don't you get kind of annoyed because I feel like I'm only like staring at the bottom of the screen and I'm not really like feeling or watching what's happening, you know?
Yeah, that's my big issue. Like it kind of takes me out. I start to like, I miss shots. I miss cinematography stuff, like camera movements, because you're like trying to keep up with the syntax of what's happening, but
and you want to because it's good quality, it's good production, but it's like, man, it's like a double-edged sword,
Yeah.
So yeah.
Adam says it sounds like the old PlayStation game Manhunt. So the few hard critiques that I've seen of the Squid Game show are like, they're really just like American contrarian idiots, right? That are like, I just don't like it because it reminds me of this other thing that I saw, and you're like,
because they're like trying to like they're trying to get it as congruent as they can to the other Japanese game that they saw that we can't compete with. I feel, just in my opinion. I don't know.
Well, I mean,
honestly, I honestly don't think that we match we come anywhere near like the close of just Japanese, reality TV.
Well,
like there's some crazy shows over there.
Well, that's true. While that's true, yes, we have crazy game shows here where people get married. I mean, come on,
Oh, that's very true.
I mean, it's crazy here too. I mean, just watch one of those like Bikini Island.
It's like, hey, dude, there's 20 fuckboys on this island over here.
It's the most insane thing you've ever watched. You're just like, what is happening right now? Like, is this where our culture is going? Like, oh my god, yeah. But you watch,
honestly,
like,
I don't know. I don't know how you do it with like you have children in the game and you have like so much invested in this thing, and I'm just like, oh my goodness, like how is Joel gonna raise his kids with like all these things going on? Like, it's like, it's weird, man.
I don't know how you do it. The 80s were completely insane too, and that's when I was born. I mean,
wow. I was born in 84, so I remember the 90s, that's all.
Well, the 90s were crazy too. MC Hammer Pants.
Yeah, no.
People got their boom boxes on. You got tinnitus. Everybody's losing their hearing. I mean, 1993. Hey, man, 1993 was the most violent year in U.S. history, right?
I think so, yeah.
And we survived that. Yeah. So I think we're gonna be all right. Also at the same time, I was having a conversation with a friend of mine a while ago that we were talking about, music progression and how music changes every decade or 5 years or whatever, and the reality is that like, because somebody was like, well, what if your daughter listens to Nicki Minaj? And I'm like, I listen to NWA, okay? Like, who cares?
Yeah, when you were like 11. Yeah.
It's fine. Yeah. Like, I mean, like, it's trashy garbage, but like, they're gonna be okay. They're gonna be okay. Like, I don't know how many people like, if you grew up listening to Eazy-E, right, and then you're like, oh, now I'm an adult and it's fine, and I realize like, it's a little over the top.
Now you're like, and now you're like, oh man, now I have AIDS because I grew up listening to Eazy-E.
Well, I don't,
because he died of AIDS.
Yeah, that's true that he did. And that's unfortunate.
I'm just saying. It's like just because you listen to a particular type of thing doesn't mean you're necessarily going to be a product of it.
So forever. It's like it's not. Yeah. So I think it'll be fine.
Well, that's funny because I'm 30. I think I just turned 37 this last September, and I mean I remember the East Coast West Coast like beef that the media was making out of it, like over like Biggie and Tupac, and it was all like because of hip hop, and it was all like to sell more records, and then people ended up dying because of that, and it was like, I don't know, it's kind of weird. It's interesting.
Yeah.
To see that, I guess this place is willing to sacrifice people for the sake of a dollar, and I don't mean to go in such a deep, dark level right now. Never mind. Sorry. But yeah. Like the 90s hip hop. Like I was raised on that, man. Like I was born and raised on that. You know, that was my those were my years when I was coming up. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
and I don't know. How old are you, Joe?
I'm 400,000 years old now.
Yeah, so 400,000. So you're like 300,000 less than me, but we're working in the restaurant industry, and we understand all of the deep dark demons that were available. Yes.
It's a dark world, man. That's all I'm saying. But yeah,
You know what?
I mean,
I'm glad that we're out though.
What's that?
No, I'm just glad that we're out though. You know, I'm glad that we're able to look back at it and say, "Yep, that was a really deep, dark place," and I think I'm doing a lot better right now, and I'm really proud of myself for that.
Right. Well, you know, the thing is that a lot of that stuff is ongoing throughout the world, and you know, it's kind of one of the things that I wanted to sort of point out to in those like Peru videos that I've been, you know, I keep kind of like working on them, and I'm kind of massaging it and trying to figure out like what I want to do with the script, because I don't want to be like too like inflammatory or accusatory or any of that kind of stuff, but to also like, you know, kind of help people realize a little bit of the like the desperation that is that it's like in the third world, you know, and just how wildly different that it is down there compared to the States, you know. And I think that there's a huge percentage of Americans that have never left America for any reason. Let me see. Let me look this up. Hold on real quick. Percentage.
You know what? I actually appreciate that. I think that's an incredibly spicy take, and I think that there's going to be a lot more people that are engaged because of it. That's yeah. I love that. I love that.
Yeah. So here's the thing from April 2021. Oh my God, we are not going to accept the cookies. We're not accepting the cookies.
Kind of a spicy take, Joe.
Sorry, I opened this this website here, and it was asking me about cookies, and I will refuse your cookies. Thank you very much. I like real cookies, not internet cookies. Okay. We just gotta keep that straight so everybody knows what's up.
We don't like virtual cookies. Okay?
Only a third of American adults say they have had a valid and unexpired U.S. passport. Only 37% of Americans have ever had a passport. So,
dude, that's ridiculous.
It's really weird
of Americans.
Because, yeah, I mean, that you're like, wow. So let's say on the upside, because it says some have an expired one. So a recent doesn't show any party gap on this question. 41% of Democrats, 38% of Republicans have had a passport at some point in time. So I think if you average it out, let's say 40% here of Americans have even ever had a passport. So it's like, you know, unless people are out there admitting that they left the country illegally or something like that, only 40% of the country has ever even left, because you need a passport to get in and out, right?
And then Joel. So like on top of it, it's like they're going to Cancun. You know what I mean? It's like that's not even freaking leaving America.
Yeah. So you fly to an airport, you get in a taxi, and then you go into a compound where you hang out at a pool for 2 weeks, and then you come back home via the taxi to the airport near your house, to the taxi back to your house. Yeah, it's kind of like it's a little bit like that. You know, I've definitely had conversations with people about that, because I've been to Mexico a few times, and you know, it's like, yeah, you go to the resort, you know, you're in basically like America Minor. It's
literally it's America East. It's like Texas X. It's literally America. I mean,
yeah, I mean, you could just be at a hotel in L.A., you know. It's like, oh, well, it's 100 degrees out, you know, and I'm sitting by the pool.
Sitting in a pool.
And somebody's bringing me Mai Tais, you know, and you're like, yeah, well,
and for some reason, this guy speaks Mexican to me. And I'm like, holy shit, it's called Spanish, lady. How ignorant can you be?
Well, you know.
Can I get some salt and lime on that tecate, please?
Right. So, I mean, we would, you know, I've known quite a few Americans that have that perspective, and you know, so how am I going to try to like relate that in a way that, you know, if we're here on the live stream just BSing or whatever, it's not that big of a deal, right? But
yeah,
you know, when you make edited content, you want to try to make it as relevant as possible to the thing that you're trying to say. And I don't know if I've encapsulated that yet. But we'll see.
I apologize for going so far off the track.
Yeah.
Sorry.
Yeah. Well, you know how it is.
Yeah, I know it is.
Regular guy one says passports aren't cheap if you can't afford to leave the country anyway. When I got my passport, it was the last time I got my passport, it was $65. So,
Wow.
For some people, I'm sure that's a lot of money. I understand.
Here's a good question, Joel. When does your passport expire?
I don't know.
What year?
I had it out here.
What year does your passport expire? Yeah.
I don't know. I'll have to check.
You gotta take you need to take a good look at that one.
Well, I mean,
mine expires next year.
I think I got a new one.
Sorry, go ahead.
I think I got a new one like 5 years ago, so it probably still has 5 years on it. I don't know. I'd have to take a look.
Do they usually last for like 10 years? Like that? Yeah.
Yeah. I think they last a decade or maybe a little bit longer if you renew it earlier. I don't know. I'd have to check, but I don't. I mean, I used it this year, and it wasn't like, it's about to expire. So, I'm
Joel,
sure
Joel, when you were younger, did you travel through Europe and everything? Like, do you have an old school passport that's expired now that has like a whole bunch of stamps on it from a whole bunch of different countries?
No, I never did that in my 20s. I mainly went around the U.S. I was actually more interested in learning about the gigantic country that we live in. Because the reality is, like, if you go from Seattle, you get on a plane and you fly to New Orleans, you might as well be in another country, from my limited experience in Europe, it's the parallel that I could give to Americans is that, like, how you get in a car and you drive to Utah or something, right? That's what it's like in Europe, except you're in a completely different country. It's like you get in your car and you drive for 8 hours, and now all of a sudden you're in. I'm in Italy.
Yeah.
Like,
you're saying because of the difference in the cultures, right? From state line to state line, right? Like there's
not necessarily state line to state line
than there are in Colorado.
But like regionally, you know what I mean? It's like it's not necessarily broken up by state line, but regions of the United States are decidedly different.
Yeah. I've noticed a little bit of that. I'm only well versed in the Midwest of that and a little bit of the West Coast.
Mm-hmm.
And I just for some reason don't want to even fuck with the Southeast.
Well, there's not a whole lot of selling. They're not selling you on it. That's the thing. The South isn't like, they're not advertising you to come visit. It's just like, man, we're just here. It's an interesting thing. Jamie Oliver asks, Joel, on a serious note, what's the expected profit margin with a restaurant with a beer and wine license? He's saying 6% is the question mark. So your goal profit margin is 11%, but you average out 6 to 7, depending on failures. But the goal is 11%. If you're for instance, every $1 million you're making, the owner should be making $100K. Basically, is a real easy way to break it down. So if you see a restaurant that is doing $7 million in sales, the owner should be generally taking home about $700.
And I mean, oh my goodness, a restaurant to be $7 million in sales, like that's a lot. That's very successful. Holy gee.
Well, yeah. I mean, the biggest.
That's very good.
The most lucrative place I worked at, we did $29 million a year.
Are you serious?
Mm-hmm. With banquets and all that kind of crazy stuff. Yeah.
Yeah, but you guys had hibachi salads for like $18.
We had $60 plates there. I mean, but the place sat upstairs sat 280 people. Downstairs was extreme fine dining. I think sat 135, I think, or something like that. And then
Joe, was that the place that you were a head chef of?
I was not head chef at that place. No,
Were you-
I was just one of the lead sous chef, whatever. Yeah.
That's a huge operation, dude.
Oh yeah, we had like 300 employees. It was buck wild. Yeah, and like that place was well established, long time staple and all that kind of stuff. And but yeah, if you own a restaurant that, let's say you have 60 seats, which is about right for like kind of a small, reasonable restaurant. You should probably have, 2 to 3 people working in the kitchen, 5 to 6 people working the floor. In a higher end kind of place. If you're talking like Applebee's or something like that, there's probably one guy with a microwave in the back, and you have one manager who's the host and everything, and you have one server that has 30 tables and they're running around, and then you have like a bartender who's just on break. I've been that guy before. Yeah, and then you have like a bartender that's on break, just out back smoking cigarettes, sitting on a bucket. Yeah, it's just the thing is that. Jamie's wondering if I was a sous chef. I have very great skills. I was an executive chef, so yeah. I mean, I worked my way up. I worked my way up from. So when you say potato peeler, there's no such thing as a potato peeler, right? It's like a weird movie thing, right? But I worked my way up from onion cutter. When the boss would give you
every potato peeler needs to also wash the dishes. That's it. That's it, right? You, if you're good enough to peel potatoes, you're good enough to wash the dishes. And
so when I started, I would when I started working in the kitchen, I would break down 8 50-pound bags of onions. I would break down like I think like 4 cases of bell peppers. And then stuff like oranges and crap like that, like I'd wash them and cut them up, and then bin everything.
You were probably bar bagging too, without even realizing. You're probably bar bagging.
No, never. But and then I would make 55-gallon garbage cans of pancake and waffle batter and stuff like that, and do all the dishes. All at the same time, which means that everybody probably got food poisoning because you go directly from the dirty dishes to cutting onions, And by the way, like if you go out to eat, that's probably like what you're gonna be encountering, unless you're at a place that like really, really cares about you.
Yeah. You know what, kids? Did you hear that amount of cake batter that Joe was just talking about? He's got pancakes for us all, or waffles, whatever you prefer. Next morning, that's it.
Oh, dude. Yeah, I mean, that was like tomorrow's pancakes. Like
pancakes for all, baby.
Although I will tell you, like, one of the funniest stories was, so like that place where I did the pancakes and onions and all that stuff, I never cooked there. I just was the guy who was in the back. And, one day, I think it was I want to say it was like a Tuesday or something goofy like that. The back door like burst open and a bunch of cops came in with their machine guns, and they yelled at everybody.
What?
Yeah, what? we got raided by the cops because the general manager was dealing drugs out the back door of the restaurant. And
what?
They busted a bunch of holes in the wall and found like a whole lot of drugs that he had stashed in the walls.
So there's literally holes in the walls?
Well, there were. I mean, they got them fixed, but yeah, he got arrested and went to jail. Yeah, we got raided at the restaurant because the manager was a drug dealer.
Well, no, this is kind of an old joke, Joel. It's kind of an old joke about like the restaurant industry and how drunk you become, and then how you just punch holes in walls.
Well,
and how you never find anything behind the walls. It's like, bro, why are you punching walls? It's like there's no baby you're trying to save over there.
That's true.
But I mean, it's incredible.
Could have been looking for that guy's drug stash. Who knows?
Yeah. But all of a sudden, yeah. So there you
go. Yeah. So new local Austin says the more I see and learn about history is that it has been crazy the whole time. Yes. as a good response to like people that are like, why would you have a baby right now? It's so crazy. It's like
dude,
would
it's always been
you know,
crazy,
Vicky and
bro.
I made a decision to have a child. We ended up with a lovely daughter who is awesome and is badass. But like, if there was any point in history that I would want to have a kid, it's now. Like, we have the most technology right now. We have the most access to healthcare. We have the most access to basically everything ever.
Yeah.
So like now, or maybe 10 years from now, I guess, I don't know. But we haven't reached that point yet. So it's like, when would I like to have had a kid? It's like now. Like, you know, if I had her 20 years ago, she probably would I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know what it would have been like to have
it literally
kid.
sounds like there's no better time to have a kid than right now.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Especially after everything that you've been through. I don't know everything that Vicky, been through as well, but like, dude, like, you'd be like the best dad ever right now. Are you kidding me? Like now is the best time.
Well, now is the most advanced I've ever been. So I would like to have a kid now instead of, you know, what 25-year-old me? That guy's a psycho. I wouldn't want him to be around kids. That's why I didn't have a kid. Yeah. All right. My timer is going off. So
very true.
Thank you for calling in today. I'm going to hang up on you.
Oh, okay.
Bye-bye.
Well, it's been a blast. All right.
All right.
It's been a blasty blast.
Bye.
I'll talk to you later.
Bye. All right, I hung up. Okay, so we had a call in today. Addictive Tendencies calling in and shooting the old bull, having a good time. Let's see. Where am I right now? Oh, I'm in the rules book. Okay, we don't want to be in the rules page. Okay, there we go. That's why I was like, what's going on here? We got a $5 super chat from Alvin Alejo. Says, miss watching your show. Been too busy. Hope you're doing great. Hey, man, I hope you're doing great, too. Last time I checked, I heard that you were back from deployment. So hopefully you're good busy. How about that? We'll put it that way. Hopefully you're good busy. And, yeah. Adam Wink says, Jamie Oliver, does one even need a license to serve beers? Yes, you need a beer and wine license. Liquor license is separate. It's two different licenses. But, yeah, typically you get them together, and most banks won't give you a business loan for a restaurant unless you have plans to do both of those these days. So, yeah, you're going to probably need to do it, which is one of the reasons I don't really have any plans to be a restaurateur, because one of the reasons that restaurants are able to stay open is serving and pushing alcohol on people, which you guys know that I'm a sober guy, so I don't know if I would really want to be involved in that business strategy personally. It's not a bad thing. It's just I might not want to be personally involved in it. All right, that's today's show. If you guys are wanting to either be a part of the show or influence the show or sponsor the show or any of that stuff, how about you just become a patron or become a member on the YouTube or whatever, or hit the like button or whatever, and that's the show for today. Because I got stuff I gotta go put siding on a house in the neighborhood. Okay.